It's important to note that the role of the police extends beyond law enforcement and encompasses various functions related to public safety, crime prevention, and community services. However, considering a hypothetical scenario without police, here are some potential implications. Security concerns. The absence of police could lead to increased concerns about public safety and security. Without a dedicated law enforcement presence, there might be challenges in responding to and deterring crime effectively. This could result in heightened fear, higher crime rates, and a lack of confidence in the overall safety of communities. Community self-policing. In the absence of police, communities might resort to self-policing or rely on alternative methods of security. This could involve the establishment of community watch groups, private security services, or other community-led initiatives to maintain order and protect their interests. Vigilantism and conflict. Without a formal law enforcement structure, there may be an increased risk of vigilantism or individuals taking the law into their own hands. This could lead to potential conflicts, lack of due process, and an erosion of the rule of law. The role of the police extends beyond law enforcement to services like traffic control, accident response, and emergency assistance. In a society without police, alternative organizations or agencies would need to step in to provide these services, potentially leading to a restructuring of public services and emergency response systems. It is important to note that this hypothetical scenario overlooks the complexity of maintaining social order, upholding the law, and ensuring public safety. Any major changes to law enforcement would require a comprehensive and thoughtful approach to address the inherent challenges and potential consequences. Overall, the absence of police would likely result in significant changes to societal dynamics with implications for public safety, security, and the administration of justice. Without a formal law enforcement presence, there is a higher likelihood of crime rates rising and disorder increasing. The absence of police patrols and proactive crime prevention measures could embolden criminals and create an environment of lawlessness. Communities may face challenges in deterring and addressing criminal activities effectively. Power, vacuum, and potential exploitation. The absence of a centralized law enforcement authority could create a power vacuum, leaving room for individuals or groups to exploit the situation. Criminal organizations or other entities might attempt to fill the void and establish their own systems of control, potentially leading to increased violence, coercion, and exploitation. Inequality and access to justice. Without police to enforce the law, marginalized communities, who often rely on police protection, could face further disadvantages. In the absence of a neutral law enforcement presence, certain groups may be disproportionately affected by crime, violence, and discrimination, leading to a breakdown in trust and unequal access to justice. Emergence of alternative security forces. In the absence of police, communities might resort to the formation of alternative security forces or paramilitary groups to protect their interests. However, these entities might lack the proper training, oversight, and accountability structures, potentially leading to abuses of power and further instability. Shift in social dynamics. The presence of police serves as a deterrent to criminal behavior and can contribute to a sense of security and order within communities. Without police, there could be a shift in social dynamics as fear and mistrust may become more prevalent, affecting community cohesion and overall well-being. Emphasis on community-based solutions. In a society without police, the focus might shift toward community-based solutions for maintaining law and order. This could involve strengthening community bonds, promoting conflict resolution skills, and investing in social programs that address root causes of crime, such as poverty, inequality, and lack of opportunities. Need for new systems of governance. The absence of police would necessitate the development of new systems of governance and mechanisms for upholding the rule of law. Alternative structures, such as community-led councils, restorative justice initiatives, or specialized agencies, would need to be established to handle public safety, crime prevention, and dispute resolution. The privatization of police services can potentially lead to corruption due to various factors and inherent challenges. While privatization may bring efficiency and cost-saving measures, it also introduces profit motives and potential conflicts of interest, which can undermine the integrity and accountability of law enforcement. Here are some ways in which privatization could contribute to corruption. Profit motivation. Private companies providing police services operate on a profit-driven model. This financial incentive may create pressures to cut corners, compromise ethical standards, or engage in corrupt practices to maximize profits. For example, There could be a focus on revenue-generating activities such as issuing fines or fees rather than ensuring public safety. Lack of accountability and transparency. Private police entities may not be subject to the same level of oversight, regulations, and transparency requirements as public law enforcement agencies. This can create an environment where corrupt practices are more likely to go unnoticed or unreported. Limited accountability mechanisms and lack of public scrutiny can lead to abuses of power. Influence of private interests. Private police forces may be susceptible to influence or manipulation by powerful entities, such as corporations or political interests. This can result in biased enforcement, preferential treatment, or the protection of specific interests at the expense of public safety and justice. Recruitment and training issues. Private police agencies may have different recruitment and training practices compared to public law enforcement. Hiring practices that prioritize profitability over qualifications or ethics can lead to the employment of personnel with questionable backgrounds or inadequate training, increasing the risk of corruption within the organization. Lack of standards and guidelines. In the absence of consistent and robust regulatory frameworks, privatized police services may operate without clear standards, guidelines, or ethical codes. This can create an environment where corrupt practices thrive, as there may be no established mechanisms for addressing misconduct or ensuring adherence to professional standards. Contractual relationships and conflicts of interest. Private police entities often operate under contractual agreements with clients or governments. These contractual arrangements can create conflicts of interest, where the priorities of the private entity may diverge from the best interests of public safety. Conflicts between contractual obligations, profit objectives, and public service obligations can foster corruption. Reduced community engagement. Privatization may lead to a loss of community trust and engagement in law enforcement. When the police are perceived as profit-driven entities rather than public servants, the relationship between the community and the police can be strained. Reduced community oversight and involvement can provide fertile ground for corrupt practices to take hold. To mitigate the risk of corruption in privatized police services, it is essential to establish strong regulatory frameworks, maintain robust oversight mechanisms, enforce transparency and accountability standards, and prioritize public safety over profit motives. Effective checks and balances, along with active community participation, are crucial in addressing and preventing corruption within privatized law enforcement. If the elements mentioned in the previous response align with the current regulations on police, the establishment of oversight bodies, the importance of independence, expertise, transparency, and whistleblower protection are all key components of existing regulatory frameworks aimed at ensuring accountability and preventing corruption within public law enforcement agencies. The intent behind these regulatory measures is to maintain public trust, uphold the rule of law, and safeguard against abuses of power. However, it's important to note that the implementation and effectiveness of these regulations can vary across jurisdictions, and there is ongoing debate and discussion about the best approaches to police oversight.